In this video, I'm going to share with you a step-by-step pattern of making these cute little amigurumi car toys. So let's get started. Hey guys, welcome to DIY Crafts. For this, I'm going to use a 4-ply 100% cotton yarn along with a crochet hook of size 2.5 mm. Now let us begin by making a magic ring. So wrap the yarn around your finger as shown in the video, and from the first loop grab the second loop and then make a chain one. So that's the magic ring. Now take your finger out, adjust the circle, and now let's start making the single crochet stitches in the magic center. Insert the hook into the center, drop a loop, yarn over and make a single stitch. So that's the first single stitch, 2 and the third one. Now into the center, make a slip stitch. So insert the needle, yarn over and pull the loop up out of all the loops on the hook. Then chain one and then trim the thread. Fasten off and now close the magic circle. Pull the starting tail end to close it. Now we are going to weave in these tail ends into the project using the tapestry needle. Just hide the tail end across these 3 stitches and then trim the excess thread close to the project. Don't worry if the thread is so small, we are going to secure it with a glue to the project. And if you are willing to attach this using these tail ends, don't trim these tail ends, just have it on the project itself. So this is the first headlight. Repeat the same pattern to make the second one also. Now put this aside and let's start making the wheels for the project. I'm using the grey color yarn so that the stitches will be visible on the video. However, you can choose the black color yarn as well. So first let us begin with a magic circle. We have to make 4 such wheels. So then make chain 1, and now in the center we are going to make half double crochet stitches. So yarn over, insert the needle into the center, pull up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, draw the yarn through all the 3 loops. So that's the first half double crochet, and then this is the second one. We have to make total 10, so keep a count on it. That's 3, then the 4th one, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now once all the 10 half double crochet stitches are done, pull the starting tail end to close the magic circle tightly. And now you can close the circle using a slip stitch. If not, you can use this invisible join method that I'm going to show that to you right now. So first fasten off and pull the tail end out of the last stitch. And now using a tapestry needle, we are going to join the last stitch to the first stitch. So take the tail end into the tapestry needle and now insert the needle on the into the first stitch on the top of the first half double crochet, and now put the needle back into the back loop of the last stitch and also the back bump on the last stitch. So in this method the wheel will look nice and clean. And now turn the wheel to the back side, fasten off, secure it with a knot, and then weave in the tail end. So you can weave in across like a couple of stitches, and for the starting tail end also you just have to make a knot and then weave in, and you can trim the excess thread. If not, if you are attaching the wheels to the car using the threads, then you might have to leave the tail ends without trimming them. However, in this project I am using hot glue gun to attach them. So I'm just going to weave in and then trim the excess thread close to the project. Now repeat the same pattern to make the rest of the 3 wheels also, and then put them aside. Now for the car color, you can choose any color of your choice. I'm using this lavender color. Now begin with a slip knot, and then we're going to make a foundation chain. Make a chain 6, so that's chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And now we are going to start making the first row. So make chain 1, do not count it as a stitch, and now leave one chain from the hook, and in the next chain make 2 single crochet stitches. So that's one single stitch. If you want, you can put a stitch marker to identify the first stitch. The chain 1 is going to be ignored. That means we are not counting the chain 1 as a stitch. Now into the same stitch make one more single stitch. That is, we have made a single stitch increase in the first stitch. Now in the next 4 chains we are going to make one single stitch in each stitch. So that's 1, this is 2, 3 and 4. After this we will be left with only one chain on the foundation chain, and in that chain we have to make 4 single crochet stitches, all 4 in the same gap. So carefully make 2 single stitches at once. Now turn your work and pull the starting tail end on the other side to make it look like the 2 stitches are on the opposite side of the foundation chain. You can just pull the starting tail end so that the needle will come on all the way on the opposite side of the foundation chain, and then make 2 more single crochet stitches in the same chain. That is the last chain of the foundation chain. So we have 4 single crochet stitches, and your work will automatically turn towards the opposite side of your foundation chain. Now in the next 4 chains we have to make one single stitch in each chain. So that's one single stitch, the second one, 3 and 4. And now we have come to the first chain where we have started making the row 1, and in that chain we have to make 2 more single crochet stitches. If you observe, the straight line acts as the center part. We have made 4 single crochet stitches on the other side, and whereas we have started to make only 2 single stitches in the first side. So to balance the pattern, like to have 4 stitches on each side, we are making the last 2 single crochet stitches in the last stitch. Don't worry about the hole over there. You can just adjust that hole by putting a small amount of glue in there. After that, remove the stitch marker and put your needle on the top of the first single stitch to make a slip stitch, and this completes your first row, and you will have 12 single crochet stitches in your row 1, and this is the oval shape that you are going to see after completing your first row. Now let's start making the second row. Begin with chain 1, and you have to ignore this chain 1 also as a stitch. Now make single crochet increase in the first stitch, that is 2 single crochet stitches in the same stitch. So that's one single stitch, and in the same stitch make one more single stitch. So that's the increase. Now in the next stitch make one more single crochet increase. Again 2 single crochet stitches worked in the same stitch, that is called as a single crochet increase. So after 2 single stitch increases, in the next 4 stitches make one single stitch in each stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now in the next 4 stitches that we have worked in the last chain, in all those 4 stitches make increases, that is 2 single stitches in each stitch. So that's the first increase, and then in the next one making the second single stitch increase. Now the third single stitch increase, and then the fourth single stitch increase. So if you see the work, we have come to the bottom side of the oval shape. Now we have to make one single crochet stitch in each of the next 4 stitches. So that's the first one, 2, 3 and 4. Then you will be left with 2 more stitches. The last one which you are seeing, that's a slip stitch. We will not count the slip stitch. So there are only 2 more stitches left. in those 2 stitches we have to make increases. So that's the first increase, and in the next stitch make the second increase. The next one is the slip stitch, so we are going to ignore that. And the next one is the chain one, we are ignoring that one also. So remove the stitch marker, and in that stitch put your needle and make a slip stitch to close the second row, and you will have 24 single stitches by the end of the second row. That is the oval shape, and this makes the front part of the car. If you want, you can make it as a front part, if not the back part. Anything will look the same way. Now for the third row, begin with a chain one, which we are going to ignore it as a stitch. And now for the full row we are going to make back loop only single crochet stitches. After making the first single stitch, put the stitch marker to mark the first stitch. And now if you observe, I am putting the needle only into the back loop and making 1 single crochet in each and every stitch throughout the row. So that's the third one. Then 4, and if you want you can keep count while you're working so that you will never miss any stitch. And whatever the front loops you are leaving, it will act as a small border line that separates the front part of the car with the rest of the body part of the car. Now if we have completed all the single crochet stitches of the third row, you will have 24 single stitches. Ignore that last stitch because that is the slip stitch. And then the next one is the chain one, so ignore that one also. Now remove the stitch marker and put your needle on the top of this stitch, and we are going to continue with the spiral method from here on. So start making the fourth row by making 1 single crochet, and then put a stitch marker in this stitch to mark the beginning of the fourth row. Now here point forward all the rows until the 17th row. We have to make 1 single crochet in each and every stitch throughout the row until you finish the 17 rows. In all these rows you will have 24 single crochet stitches only, and we are not making any slip stitches anymore until row 17. We are just working in spirals. So continue to make until the 17 rows. If you want, you can just add stuffing in the middle. If not, you can just complete all the 17 rows and then add the stuffing. So here is where I have completed the 17th row, and if you see, it looks like a long cylindrical tube. And now from here onwards we have to change the pattern to close the body part of the car. So from here we are just going to make the 18th row. Begin with a slip stitch first. So yarn over and make a slip stitch, then make chain one. And now insert the needle into the back loop of the same stitch and pull up a loop. And again insert the needle into the back loop of the next stitch and drop another loop. Now you will have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and start with a single crochet decrease. So draw the yarn through all the 3 loops on the hook. So that is a single crochet decrease. Now this is where the next row begins. So put a stitch marker in this first stitch. Now for this pattern we have to make 3 single crochet decreases. First one is already done, and now we are making the second one. So now insert and drop a loop from the first stitch, and insert the hook and drop a loop from the second stitch. And in this row we are inserting the hook only into the back loops. So we leave the front loops and drop the loops only from the back loops, and then finish the second single crochet decrease. And here I am making the third single crochet decrease. Yarn over and draw the yarn out of all the 3 loops. So we have made 3 single crochet decreases, and now let's continue with the pattern. We have to make 4 single stitches in the next stitches. So now that means 1 single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. So that's first stitch, second one, third one, and the fourth single stitch. Once the 4 single crochet stitches are completed, let's continue the pattern. We have to make 4 single crochet decreases. So for the first decrease, insert the needle into the back loop and drop a loop. Again insert the needle in the back loop of next stitch, drop a loop. Yarn over and draw the yarn through all the loops on the hook. So that's a single crochet decrease. And then the second one, that's the second decrease. Now drop a loop from the first one and then drop another loop from the second one. Yarn over and make a single crochet decrease. So that's the third decrease. And finally doing the fourth decrease. So it slowly will complete the oval shape. Now in the next 4 stitches, make one single stitch in each stitch. So that's the first one. Insert, drop a loop and make a single stitch. Right, that's the first one. And then the second single stitch. Third one. And fourth one. Now you will be left with only 2 single crochet stitches, and in that 2 stitches we are going to make the last single stitch decrease. So insert a loop from the first and another loop from the second and make a single crochet decrease. Now remove the stitch marker, insert your hook into the first stitch and then make a slip stitch. So draw the yarn through all the loops on the hook. Now stop your work here and let's add the stuffing into the project. So if you see, it will take a nice oval shape, and this oval shape we make it as a base for our car. Now take a good amount of fiber fill and let's add stuffing into the project. Please note, you shouldn't stuff it a lot. You just have to stuff good enough that it holds the rectangular shape and it doesn't become into a circle. Now let's continue with the last row, 19th row. Begin with chain 1 and make 2 single crochet decreases. Here I am making an invisible decrease. For that, insert the hook into the front loops of next 2 stitches, yarn under, drop a loop and then make a single crochet. So that's an invisible decrease. Mark this first stitch. Now let's make one more invisible decrease in the next 2 stitches. So insert the hook into the front loop of next 2 stitches at a time, yarn under, drop a loop, yarn over and complete the single stitch. So these 2 are 2 single crochet stitches. Now continue to make 1 single stitch in each of the next 4 stitches. So that's 1. This one is the second one. Third one, and then the 4th single stitch. Now make 2 more single crochet decreases. So again we are doing an invisible decrease. Insert the hook into front loops of next 2 stitches and then make a first decrease. In the same way, make the second invisible decrease. While making the stitches of the last row, you push the stuffing into the project so that it doesn't come your way while you are stitching. Now make the last 4 single crochet stitches. So that's the first one, 2, 3 and 4. Now this row is completed. Remove the stitch marker. So the stitches which you are seeing are, one is the slip stitch and one is the chain one. So we are going to ignore those 2 stitches. So remove the stitch marker, insert your hook onto the top of the first stitch, yarn over and make a slip stitch to join. And then make chain 1. Leave a long tail end to fasten off, and we are going to use this tail end to sew that opening on the last row. So pull the thread out of the needle and fasten off. Now if you press the last row a little bit, you will see a flat part on the top, which will always also look like an oval shape. Now take this finishing tail end into the tapestry needle, and now we are going to sew the last row together to close the opening. take the front loop of the first side and back loop of the other side and pass the needle through both the loops from front to back. And now back loop on the back side and front loop on the front side. Pass the needle from back to front, and we are going to repeat this one throughout the row to attach all the stitches to each other. So it's front to back, again back to front, and then front to back and back to front all over throughout the row until you reach the last stitch. And once you are done with the sewing part, you can secure it by making a knot on the other side. If you want, you can run a second round of sewing, but it's not needed. Once it is done, insert the tail end into the stuffing and then trim the excess thread close to the project. And this way the bottom part of the car will be completed. Now put this aside and let's start making the top part of the project. For this, I'm going to begin with the same lavender color, and for the mirrors I'm using the white color yarn. So for the top part, begin with a magic ring, and the top part we are working in a square shape, so observe carefully and then replicate the pattern. Begin with chain 1, and for the first row make 8 single crochet stitches into the center. So if you put a count, that's the first single crochet. If you want, you can just put a stitch marker on the top of the first stitch as a reminder for the start of each row, and then yarn under, drop a loop, that's the second single stitch, third one, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now pull the starting tail end to close the magic circle. Now that first row is completed, remove the stitch marker and let's start making the second row. Put your needle on the first stitch, and in this first stitch make 3 single crochet stitches. It's an increase, but instead of making 2 stitches, we are making 3 single stitches in same stitch. So that's the first one. Again put a stitch marker to mark the beginning of the second row. So these 3 single crochet stitches gives the first corner of the square. That's the second single stitch, and then the third single stitch. So these 3 will give the first corner of the square. Now let's make 1 single crochet stitch in the next stitch. That's the first side of the square. So we have completed the first corner and first side. Now we are making the second corner. So make 3 single crochet stitches in the next stitch. So that's the first one, 2 and 3. And in the next stitch make 1 single stitch. That's the second side of the square. Now the third corner, make 3 single crochet stitches in the single stitch. That's the first one, 2 and 3. Then the next side, the third side, make 1 single stitch. Now the fourth corner, make 3 single stitches. So that's 1, 2 and 3. Then the fourth side, make 1 single stitch. So if you see, there will be a nice square shape after completing the first row. And if you observe any hole in the center, the magic circle is not completely closed. So pull the starting tail end tightly to close any gaps at the middle. Remove the stitch marker and let's start making the third row. Begin with 1 single stitch, put the stitch marker back to mark the beginning of the first one. Now in the next stitch, that's the corner stitch, the middle stitch of the previous 3 single stitches. In that stitch we are going to make another corner, that is 3 single stitches in one single stitch. That's an increase. So 3 single stitches. So that's the corner. We have made 1 single stitch and then an increase. Now make 3 single crochet stitches. That is 1 single stitch in each of the next 3 stitches. And then an increase, that is 3 single stitches in the same stitch. That's for the corner. Do not confuse between the corner 3 single stitch and the side 3 single stitches. Corner 3 single stitch is we are making 3 single crochet stitches in one stitch, whereas in the side we are making 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Okay. Now that the second corner is completed, we are working on the second side. So we have 3 single crochet stitches on the side. Now again it's a corner. So make 3 single stitches in the same stitch. So that's 1, 2 and third single stitch also into the same stitch. That's a corner stitch. And then for the third side, 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2 and 3. Now we have the fourth corner. Make 3 single stitches in the last stitch. 1, 2 and the third one also into the same stitch. Now we have 2 more stitches. If you remember, we have started this row with 1 single stitch. So 1 stitch on the fourth side is already completed. So now this is the other side of the other 2 stitches of the fourth side. Now once this is done, trim the yarn and fasten off. So now instead of making a slip stitch, we are going to make an invisible join using a tapestry needle. If you want, you can just complete this row by making a usual slip stitch also, but this one will give you a nice finishings. So take the tail end into the tapestry needle, skip the next chain, and in the next stitch put your needle in both the loops and pass the needle as shown in the video. Now take the needle and put it into the back loop and also the back line of the last stitch of the fourth row, and then pass the needle through both the loops, and this will give you a nice clean invisible join of the last row. Once it is done, turn your work onto the back side, secure it by making a knot. You can just make a simple knot on the back side of the project, and then you can just leave it. If not, you can weave in also. This is the top part. If you want the car color to be on one line on the side, you can continue for the next pattern also in the same color and then change the color. If not, you can just change the color now itself. Now into one of the corners of the stitch, you can change the color to white yarn and insert the hook only into the back loop and make 1 single crochet in each of the stitches. Begin with the chain 1 so that you can have some height chain, and now insert the needle into the back loop of the same stitch and begin with 1 single stitch. Now put the stitch marker on the top of the first stitch as you mark the row. Now continue to make 1 single crochet in each of the next stitches. In the fourth row, you will have 24 stitches as we are not making any increases while working the side part of the project. So just continue to make 1 single stitch in each of the stitches throughout the row until you reach the starting point. Even if it is the corner or the side, it doesn't matter. Just make 1 single stitch. Whatever front loops we are leaving, that will give you a nice border edging on the top of your project. So we are doing the last single crochet on the top of for the top part. So that's the last single stitch. Now remove the stitch marker and let's continue for making the 5th row. Insert the hook onto the first stitch and continue to make 1 single stitch. Now again put a stitch marker to mark the beginning of the 5th row. And now from row 5, till row 8. We are going to make one single stitch in each of the stitches, and we are going to repeat it same way until the 8th row. So from row 5 till row 8 you will have 24 single crochet stitches in all these rows. Now here I am making the last single stitch of the 8th row, and once it is done you can just directly fasten off. So leave a long tail end with which we are going to attach the top part to the base of the card. So that I am just taking a very long tail end, and now pull the tail end out of the last loop to fasten off. Now we are going to remove the stitch marker, and we have to secure the last thread. So for that we are using a same method how we have finished the violet part on the top. In the same way we are taking the tail end into the tapestry needle and going to make a invisible join to fasten off. So for that, take the tail end into the tapestry needle, leave the next stitch, and in the later stitch insert the needle from the front into both the loops and pull the needle out. Now put the needle back into the last back loop of the last chain, the last stitch, and also into the back bump. Pull it gently to make it look like a last stitch, and then put the needle into the back bump of the last stitch, and using the tail end make a knot to secure the fasten off. So this way you will complete the last stitch. Put the needle again into the same stitch and bring the tail end to the outside part, because as I have already said we are using this tail end to attach the top part to the base of the car. So take the rectangular or the oval shape whatever we have done for the base part, and now gently check the position, like we have to leave the 4 rows for the front part, and then secure it with the positions like 5 stitches on the side and 1 stitch for the corner, and secure the square part on the rectangular part as shown in the video. So position it correctly so that it will attach nicely instead of looking it crooked. Now using this tail end, attach the yarn, the top part to the bottom part. So gently by tracing down the stitches at the bottom part, and also I'm going to insert the needle into the one loop on the top part. Like if you see, I'm just using one loop on the top part. Watch the video carefully. Every time I'm passing the needle from the base towards the top part. Again I'm bringing the needle back to the base, one loop from the base, and then one loop on the top part. Again sew it together. Likewise we are going to attach it all the way on all the sides, especially in the corners. We have to make a double stitch so that it will stay nice and it looks like a square part. So one stitch on the side and the second stitch from the other side of the car, so that it looks like a nice square shaped on the corners. And now again remove the pins and continue to sew them on all the 3 sides. When it's time to sew the last side, stop your project, add the stuffing onto the top part, and later you can continue to sew on the last side as well. Once you are done with it on all the sides, secure it with a knot so that the join will be safe and secured on all the sides. Just make a one knot to secure everything at place. Now weave in the tail end into the project, and then weave it a couple of times so that it will be nice and secured. And once it is done, you can just pull the tail end out of the project and then trim the excess thread close to the project. Now let's assemble all the parts. Here I am using a fabric glue. If you want, you can use the hot glue gun as well. So the last row, the 18th row, is where I have put it as my front part of the car. So I am putting the glue there and I am attaching the headlights, and on the sides, the place where we have attached the the top part, that is where we are going to put a glue and attach the tires and let it dry. And to hold the position, I am just using a pins to hold them in position until they are dried. After that, they are completely dried, we can just remove that pins to secure them nicely. So leave it to dry, and once it's completely dried, I'm just going to add the little detailing for the mirrors. So for the border part, I'm using the same lavender color that I have used for the body of the car, and I'm just sewing on few lines on the edges part to give the detailing, like it should look like a car mirrors. So I'm repeating it all the way on all the 4 sides of the square, and once it is done, bring the thread back to the top part and make a couple of knots on the top so that the tail ends and the work will be secured. After that, pass the needle through the magic circle on the top part all the way to the bottom part of the card, so that the top will also looks flat instead of a cup shape. And also the other thread, bring it to the bottom part, and now trim the excess threads close to the project. You don't have to secure them again, it will hold its shape. But if you are very particular, you can just make another knot at the bottom of the project as well. And with that, you have made yourself your cute amigurumi cars. I hope you all enjoyed watching this tutorial. Do give this pattern a try and let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. The written pattern for this project is given in the description. Do check it out. Don't forget to share your work to me on Instagram. See you all in the next video.
Thank you for watching. Please like the video, share it, and subscribe to DIY Crafts.